Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today we have a very special review impressions of a knife that was loaned to me through the pass around, and it comes from Brian Winters from Winter Blade Company. And this is the Severn. This is a early production release or prototype. I don't know if it's technically a prototype. It might be an early production release, I think. It doesn't say prototype on there, and it works really well. So yeah, I suspect it's an early production release. So, but these haven't really dropped yet. He just dropped the Factor B3 version. That just, a lot of people just got theirs. This is very different. This is not magnetic. He does something here without magnets. He uses springs on this one, and it's kind of an interesting lock. To me, there's a lot of cool things. Let's talk about this. So, just so you know, this is a review of a knife that was loaned to me. It's not my knife. I'm not going to hard use it. I'm not going to do all sorts of stuff. I know there's some people out there who feel like you can't do a review unless you take that knife out in the woods and you do survival for 4 months and you live off the land and cut down a giant oak tree with your pocket knife and make toothpicks out of it to pick your teeth while you're eating wild game and you know, cutting rocks. I don't know. That's not me. I don't do that, first of all. And if that's you, you're amazing. I want to know you if anything goes south. But the other thing is, that's a different type of knife, honestly. It's not this. You're looking at probably a fixed blade, something really hardy, something you're going to trust your life to. This is a cool knife, and you can do a lot of things with this, and it's really amazing. But it's not a survivalist knife, and it's a loan knife. It's not my knife, so I'm going to treat it with all care. I haven't cut anything. I haven't done anything with it, right? It's not my knife. I just get to handle it, kind of get a feel for it, tell you what my impressions are, and they're pretty good. They're pretty good. It's definitely a different design. There's some good and bad, and I'll talk about that. So the designer is Brian Winters, and the company is Winter Blade Co. The OEM is Best Tech. They're the ones who made this knife for him. And Brian Winters is a designer magician. The stuff he comes up with is ridiculous. Now, I said there's no magnets on this. It's not 100% true. There is one magnet on here, and you're not going to know that. But this little button right here, this is a magnet, and I don't know if I can. I don't want to damage it, but you see this little button right here? If you push this, this is a magnet that allows me to move this to the other side, right? So that's what that is. So there is a magnet on here. So the pin itself is a magnet, and that's what holds it on there. So the thumb stud is magnetic, so you can swap that if you want, but it holds on there really well. So he kind of threw a magnet in there without being a magnet, but he still did a little Brian Winters magnet magic there. So if you were kind of going, well, there's no magnets on, there is. He was very subtle about it. I thought that's cool. All right, so let's talk about it. The handle material is titanium. This is black, kind of, I think it's PVD coated, done really nicely. When we look at the handle, there's some nice weight relief on the inside. I don't know if you can see that. It's done really, really well. I like that. It does make the knife a lot lighter. It's got a nice pocket clip, got some good flexibility, good ramp going in and out. Everything is rounded. There's no sharp edges anywhere. Now, it is a little sharp on the edge right here. I don't know if that's going to be fixed with the final production release, but I wish this was just chamfered a little bit more. So you can see there's some chamfering. Let me see if I can zoom in on that. You can see the chamfering, micro chamfering here. But right here, and I don't know why it's chamfered, but it's very light, and that part is sharp. And so when I reach down and if I grip this, and I'm going to use, cut a lot of things right here, that's going to be uncomfortable after a while. So I don't know if the production is going to be different. I could probably ask him, but I wish that was just a little smoother, right? That's just my thing for a grip. It's just kind of a bummer. But it's still very comfortable. It's long enough. It's kind of like the Narrows, right? In the sense of it's got lots of room here and stuff. Can you choke up? You can. It's a weird, awkward finger choil, sharpening choil, whatever thing. I think that's part of the design of the knife, but you could do that. It makes me nervous. It's just not, I don't know. I don't feel comfortable with my finger in there. I don't feel like it's solid in there, but that's just me. It's got a standoff here in the back, a very unique standoff. It doesn't look quite like a standoff. It almost looks like a magnetic pin, but it's not. And it's very solid in there. For one standoff, that's pretty stinking cool. So this right here is a very unique lock. And let me see what the name of he calls it. I got to find the name because it's different, right? Yeah, it's called a Stealthlock. That's what he calls this, a Stealthlock. So it's a combination of two things. It almost looks like the Shark Lock meets the Super Lock meets the Axis Lock meets the Ram Lock. And that's the way I would describe it. It's kind of like the best of all those things meld together in a Brian Winters sort of magical way that sort of is reminiscent of his magnetic lock on the Factor, but not. So it is, but it isn't. You know, it's exactly like it, but completely different. You know, so I know it's kind of a paradox there. So this works just like that, right? I mean, you can close it like that. You can open it like that, just kind of like you would with an Axis lock, right? So that works. But this right here, now, it's not real easy for big meaty fingers. He does do some cutaway, but getting my fingers in there is a little uncomfortable. So that was my biggest qualm with the Snex Design Super Lock on the the Vision R and the Vision FG. The Vision R and the Vision FG had that kind of you know, it was easier to work on that Vision FG than it was on the Vision R, and I appreciated that because it was bigger and it had texture. So I can work it. The thing is, it gets uncomfortable for big meaty fingers like me. I don't have big giant calluses and long fingertips. So now it works pretty well. I can flick it open. If I use the weight of the blade and just get enough in there. So if I go in here and I just get enough like this and I use the flat part, it can work really well like that. Now, if I'm trying to use it constantly like that, then it gets a little uncomfortable. But putting your finger flat like this into that part does work pretty well. But like I said, to me, to make it really ideal, I have to do a little wrist flick. But that's only, that's only one way of deploying it, because I still have the fuller here, or the thumb hole. It's not really a thumb hole, it's more like a fuller with a cool design, almost like a lightning bolt. Makes you look like AC/DC rock and roll. Anyways, sorry, dated myself there. But anyways, but the Thumbstud is cool, and you can flick it. And this is reversible for left-hand carry. So these screws do work for left hand, so it's left hand tip up. So it works really well, this kind of lock. It's one of these ambidextrous locks that's really nice. And it's cool that this is a magnetic pin here, and you can move that. So I think that's cool. It was, when I got it, pretty dead center, and it still seems pretty dead center, yeah. Nice thin blade. We'll get some measurements here in just a second. It is M390 blade steel. So we got, the lock in here with the spring mechanism. It's called a Stealthlock. You have the two bars here, you have here, and it does lock and engage over here, which reminds me of, I don't know, sort of like the Axis lock, the Able lock, the Ram lock, almost the, Spyderco cage ball lock. It's kind of all the same sort of engineering, but a little different. Right? So exactly the same, but completely different. So I don't know. You can take it for what it's worth, right? All right. So I like the way it opens. I like the way it closes. It's very smooth. Great action. Really nice. On caged bearings, works really well. You can absolutely put skiffs in here if you wanted to when you get yours. Doesn't need it on this one. I think it's really, really smooth, and Bestech's doing a good job with their OEM skiffs. They're getting better. They're getting better. But skiffs are always just a bit nicer. I'm not gonna lie to you, they are. Our screws are all T8s, which is really cool. Even the screw here, all T8s all the way around. It is a captive pivot. I love that. So just really kind of neat. Let's do some measurements on this one. So for as big as it is, it's a pretty big boy. It feels pretty hefty. So yeah, it's 4.6 ounces. Now this is the titanium version. Now they have different variants that are probably a little bit lighter. There's like a 14C28N, which is a budget steel, but I mean, it gets this design into a more realistic place, where I think that one's like $189, but this is about $369, almost $400, right? So you are talking a bit of money, right? So let's look at the overall length. This is going to be just shy of 8 inches. It's 7 7/8 of inches. Your handle length, you really have about 4 1/4. You could sort of choke up to get 4 3/4. So really large hands. It's very, accommodating. Going from the very tip to the back, you're probably about 3 1/4 to the scale. Actual cutting length, you're about 2 3/4. So it's a little shorter blade. It's kind of like a Spyderco in that regard, sort of, right? Let's go ahead and measure the blade stock thickness. Can I balance that? Okay, good. All right, so let's measure that. Oh, the magnet's pulling it over. So right here, it feels like it's almost a little different. So 124 thousandths of an inch, so 0.124. It's not super thick, but it's not super thin. It's absolutely much thinner right here, right? So it's under an inch all the way out here. So it definitely thins out. It's a full flat grind, which is pretty cool. You can see that full flat grind comes to a really nice thin edge, nice and sharp. It's definitely going to be a great slicer. There's no jimping up here. That's okay, because you've got all this to rest with. I think that gives you some solidity. And there's even a jimping here you can sort of use. That doesn't get engaged unless you pull it back. I mean, I guess, there's a little, you got to keep that in mind. If you're using this part, you could disengage it just doing that. So just look at that. Now, the good thing is that finger trail will catch it, right? So if I do this, I'm still going to catch it. So, I mean, I guess that's good, right? I'm not worried about it cutting me directly, right? So there is that positive thing there. Sort of his design. Maybe that's the reason why this large choil is in place, because he's thinking of safety for fingers, which wouldn't surprise me because he thinks about everything. It's just the dude's a magician, right? So when it comes to like these crazy designs, I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, so EDC. Is this an EDC knife? Absolutely, it's EDC. It's super tough. I mean, this is going to be a solid lock. Definitely no blade play, no blade play here, no pivot lash. Locks in really nicely, and it's just like any able lock at crossbar lock. You have a little wiggle, but that's you wiggle with the bar as it's rolling on top of what it's holding it in like that. That's just typical. So, but just really, really nice. Is it hard use? Hard use as you can with a knife like this. I mean, I wouldn't go cutting logs and trees down. Get a fixed blade, get an axe, right? Don't use a knife like this. That's ridiculous. Unless it's survival. You're trying to survive. Your life's on the line. Do what you got to do, right? You're not going to be too worried about protecting your knife as much as you're going to be worried about staying alive. So that's different, right? But in this case, I would definitely use a different tool. This is not the tool for that. Is it a collection piece? Absolutely. A lot of Brian's knives are collection pieces just because they're so cool. Now, people a lot of times will buy two, one for a collection, one to use. And that's cool. If that's your cup of tea. Every knife I own, I carry. If I don't carry it, I sell it. I had a Factor, loved it. I just didn't carry it a lot. It was weird. I loved it a lot. I loved the design. So I sold it because I just don't carry it. I feel like that's going to be kind of like the same with this, right? It's really cool. There's a lot of knives and designs that I like from people, and until a certain chemistry, things come together, it doesn't click for me. It's almost like Sharp by Design. I've had several of theirs, and now it's kind of an older design, but he hadn't released it for a while. When the Evo Typhoon came out, that was the one. That was the one. Had the Mini Tempest, had the Void, all these other ones, but man, that Evo Typhoon. I got one of those. That's my collection piece there for Sharp by Design. I love his designs. I loved everything about it, but that was the one that stayed, right? So there we go. Ergos and feel, overall design, handles, opening, everything. Oh, I told you about the budget. So it's not a budget knife. It's not a regular knife. It is a high-end knife. It's $389, almost $400. This is definitely between the $300 and $600 range. It's more in the middle to low range of $300 to $600, but it's not super cheap, right? It's not going to be inexpensive. So this is a I would consider a high-end knife. All right, so Ergos and feel. Ergos and feels are great. There's a lot of great things about this. Everything. I just have a couple small nitpicks, and they're small, but that's my thing. I'm gonna critique everything, and so Brian's probably I'm too small of a channel if he watches this, but if he does, one thing I would love for him to see, just if we could make that a little softer right there, because this kind of knife is something I would want to use and grip. That would be nice. I like this lock here, but Brian, did you have that in mind for it to if you're doing it like I could disengage it as if my finger's here? I didn't know. Maybe that was your intent. You're a design engineer genius, so if that could be done differently, that'd be cool, especially if people are going to hard use this, because if they're going to be hard using it, they might be doing that. So just a thought. You ignore me. I'm a little guy. You may heed me no mind if you don't care. But, those are just small things that I think I would love to see. I would love to see this in MagnaCut. That seems to be very popular now, and Bestech seems to be doing that. So I think that would be cool. I don't know if it is in MagnaCut. This one's M390. Isn't it? Did it say M390 on here somewhere? I think it's M390. Maybe it's MagnaCut, and I don't know. I'm pretty sure it was M390. Yeah, I don't have any paperwork on it, but I think it's M390. Because I think, yeah, all these that they order are M390. I don't remember seeing any of them in MagnaCut, unless I missed it. Is there any of these in MagnaCut? I'm looking here real quick just to make sure I'm not being an idiot. Because I could be. I could be a very, major idiot here. Maybe he did have a MagnaCut version, and I'm an idiot and I don't know. Let's see here. Okay, there's some weird releases here. Some interesting colors. I want to see, are they... Oh, they are in MagnaCut. Okay, so he had some in MagnaCut. All right. But they're all sold out, of course. And they were $329. And actually pretty reasonable, but some weird colors. If you like that really weird, crazy color design, he definitely did some of that. Not my cup of tea. I prefer a more simple plain chain, but that's just me. Yeah, I would have liked to just have the more simple plain chain, but that's just kind of how I roll. May not be how other people roll, but that's how I roll. So there you go. I love his designs. I love the stuff that he does. I appreciate it. It's just so creative, and I think it's stinking cool. So overall design, really cool. Action's great. If you can make this work, it can even work for my big meaty fingers. I'll just tell you, if you start right away trying to put your finger in like that, it's going to be uncomfortable. And I did that in the unboxing, and it got kind of uncomfortable. But as I was carrying this, and kind of not carrying it because I don't really carry it, I was using the knife on my desk as I'm here at work, just to kind of get the feel for it. I realized, it's a different type of lock. I think it's better suited for me to do that, flat. And then it works with big meaty fingers. And I say that because like the MSI Ram lock, everyone was trying to grip it up there, and it was really, I believe it's made just to be used one finger. That's the whole point of that Ram lock. And once I figured that out, that was really cool. And it just makes that knife have a completely new dimension. And that's my case here with this one as well. This completely changed how I used the Stealthlock, and I liked it. At first, I was not a fan. I got to be honest. I was not a fan. If you saw my unboxing, it's a little critical. I like this more. You get used to it, and it does. It's cool, right? Now, I don't carry this, and I use it not that I would have the timing down, just like I do with my Benchmades and any of my other knives, my Hogue knives, where I know where it locks right away. Now I'm kind of getting back to my timing, but this is a little different. Sorry, I'm spitting on the table. Forgive me. This is a little different, and I like this, right? I like this a lot. So yeah, I think the overall design is great. I think the opening and closing is really cool. I love the multifaceted that you have. So fidget factor. Well, I've got a fuller thumb hole, right? I've got thumb studs and a reversible thumb stud, so I can do whatever I want with it. Reverse flicking works great. I've got this stealth lock that's like an axis lock that works great. And then I've got this little stealth lock within the stealth lock that works great too. So, and if I wanted to, I could just use this flat part as well without even using the hole and still flick that as well. So yeah, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so this is one of these knives that I'm going to have to give it a 10. Fidget factor wise, Brian Winters always somehow breaks the bank. Fidget factor, he's going to get a 10 out of 10. I mean, he's got way too many deployment methods for me to give him anything less. It's just really cool. And the thing is, they all work so well. At first, I was probably going to give this a 90, maybe an 85. But after I've handled it for a while, and I realized even my big old fat meaty fingers can work this really well like that. Flat in there, and it works really nice, and it doesn't tire my finger out. I felt like an idiot. I was kind of critical. So if you saw that one, I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. So the fidget factor, the fidgety goodness of this fidget factor, it's going to be a 10. I mean, 100%. It's 100%. He gets an A+. Absolutely 100%. Yeah. After I've handled it for a while, I changed my mind, right? And I get it. Now, I don't carry this or use this knife a lot because it's not mine. It's a pass around. I want to be very careful with it. I'm not going to even carry it in my pocket because I don't want to scratch it. Maybe do a video and that's about it, right? So I'm definitely going to give this a 100%. It's really pretty phenomenal. I like it. I like it a lot. So fidgety goodness, 100% overall. So my overall thoughts, is it recommended? Well, I mean, you can kind of guess. Yeah, absolutely, 100% recommended. it's one of these things that I still would like to get. I just don't have $400 to spend on it, and I have a hard time waiting 6 months for it. It's a lot of money if I were to tie up $400 for the channel. I just don't have that extra free floating cash just to sit out there and tie up for 4 months or 6 months. And so for me, when they come in, they sell out. So it's one of these that I would like to get. I can't afford to get it in the timeline that they become available. And that's just the reality of it. I'm a young, small channel. Dude's just starting his collection. I want to look at a lot of knives. I don't have all that extra cash just sitting around. So yeah, it'll be one of these knives that I'm glad that I've got a chance to try out, appreciate. Definitely can recommend it. I love it. I probably won't get to have one in my collection. Like the Factor, I overpaid for that Factor in the secondary market. And that also kind of disappointed me. I think because I overpaid for it so much, it made that knife less enjoyable, right? I overpaid for some knives before, and those knives were amazing, and I'm perfectly fine with it. I've overpaid for some semi-custom mid-tech knives, and I'm okay with that because they were just that darn good. I was really, what I paid for this, it was a cool live stream, but it didn't allow me to appreciate it as much as I would like to have. And that's the honest God truth. And it also had a weird color. It was green. I'm not into green. And that kind of ruined it for me. So, I think if it had been all black, like this, I would probably still have it. But it just, some people are going to love that zombie green. The person who bought it loves it. I know they do because they told me already. And I'm glad. They love that zombie green. And it's not my cup of tea, right? I don't dig zombie green. I get it. It's cool. Definitely kind of a cool as an accent. It's just not quite my everyday carry. And the fact that I overpaid for it, now when he bought it for me, he did not overpay for it. He paid close to what the actual cost was. And so he got a good deal. He definitely paid $100 less than I paid, or more, $100 or more less than I paid. So anyways, he got a good deal. And I'm glad because I had a chance to hold it for a while. I wouldn't want to overcharge, right? That's not my thing. But it would be one of these things, if I could get a hold of this at a reasonable price or at cost, one of them, I will definitely have one of these in my collection. But I feel like it's just going to be so much in demand, I probably won't. And so that bums me out. I'm just being honest with you guys. That's probably why you won't see it in my collection. I have come to the conclusion that there's very few knives that I'm willing to pay more than what they actually cost, right? Very few. As much as I would like them, there's very few that I'd be willing to do that. And there's a few knives that are very much, they're Grail knives. I love them. I really want to get them. But I can't do it. Just can't do it. And after having so many knives in my collection and having to clean some out, because I had way too many, I want to be more cognizant, more thoughtful in what I do, right? Not because I don't like them, just because I want to be careful what I bring in so I can appreciate it. So that's where I stand. I'm kind of curious, what are your thoughts? What do you think about it? What's your thought? Maybe you haven't held this yet because it's not out yet, just so you know. And I've already had one person try to buy this. It's not mine. So if you're thinking, hey, would you like to sell it? This is not mine. This is a pass around. This is not even released yet. He hasn't released these. This is an early production sample or prototype from Brian. Allowed the knife channels for us, the reviewers, to handle it, to give our thoughts on it. And my unboxing was kind of unfair. It wasn't great. But my review has completely changed that, just so you know. I definitely have changed my opinion on it. Now, I do still have some qualms, like I said. There's a few things that I would love to see a little different. I can make this work now. I can make that work really well, right? When I've handled this for a while, and I know exactly where to put my finger, so like this works really nice. It doesn't tire my hand out at all. Works really nice. So, yeah, I'm rambling. I'm just sorry. It's a cool knife. You got to ramble about something like this. It's a nerdy experience. That's the one thing I like about Winter Blade Co. It's a nerd's dream experience. So if you're nerdy into knives, you're going to dig stuff like this. It's just fun. It's fun, period. And I would love to just handle some of his ideas that he never really went with, because I've seen some of his videos and there's some crazy stuff he's come up with. So anyways, that's my thoughts. Hey, what are your thoughts? What do you think? Give me your thoughts, your ideas, any questions about this knife. I'd love to hear from you. Hey, if you found this content fun, interesting, informative, or worthwhile, would you consider hitting the like button down below? And if you've already hit that like button, hey, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button as well. Love to have you like and subscribe to videos, because that really helps out the channel. Allows me to produce more content, do more things. allows the channel to grow, basically do more things for you guys. And yeah, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Especially to those of you who watch the videos, who like, who subscribe. Man, it's a huge help to the channel. It really does. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be able to do the giveaways. I wouldn't be able to look at some of the knives that I can. And I'm humbled. Like recently, I had a huge 4K giveaway, and I had to ship out a bunch of knives, and I spent $200 in shipping. I would never be able to afford that. So thank you to you guys. I appreciate you. And if you haven't already, man, hit that notification button so you can be notified of future content. I'd love for you to see new videos like this. And a big shout out to my channel members. At the last 4K, we had a huge bump in channel members, and I am humbled by that. I hope a lot of them stick around. I hope they maybe become permanent channel members, because I was honored to have you guys. It blew me away, blew me out of the water. So humbled by it. I loved it. It was an honor. It's surreal, and thank you. Thank you to you guys. Really, thank you. Some of you guys have been channel members since the very beginning. I appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing. You really, you help me continue and want to continue. Your support means the world to me. So thank you. Just as my way to say thank you to all my channel members, I do once a month channel member giveaway. And with the many channel members as we had signed up, next month's channel member giveaway, it's going to be a little nicer. For sure, it's going to be a little nicer. I'm going to be going to Blade Show, Texas this week. I don't know when you'll see this video, if you'll see it in the future, but I may have already gone to Texas Blade Show. I'm going to try to find something special for the channel members there. If not there, I'm going to be on the hunt, because I want March to be special. Because February was special and you guys were amazing. So I just want you to know that. And if you're a brand new channel member and you haven't already had a sticker, or you've been a member for a while and you haven't asked for a sticker, email me. Email me with your name and address, and I will send those out to you. I'd definitely like to do that for all my new channel members. And yeah, and if you're a top tier, you get some extra content, you get some special super stickers, let me know. I would love to hear from you. So, all right. Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. You guys are amazing. And if you haven't already, maybe check me out over on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Thanks so much for watching today. Have a great day and a great week. Bye.